Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. In the Miller Time segment tonight, let's get right to the sage of Southern California, who joins us now from Santa Barbara. So, we're trying to get across to, and we discussed this a few months ago as well, the respect for the office of the presidency. And even though it's a comedian in a comedy club, I think there has to be an awareness of that. Am I wrong?
I don't know, Bill. That's your stance. That wasn't my big takeaway there. I don't think he was that disrespectful. I think John was reasonably brave saying that. It might have panned out the right way, but trust me, there are atheists in Hollywood who deify Barack Obama. And I admire John for taking that stand. You know how far John and I go back? Way back before The Liar, way back before Master Lesbian. We first met each other when Dick Lugar was in his second term. That's how far back I go with Johnny. And I love him dearly, and I thought it took some moxie. The whole thing about the president is the end of the world. Listen, they had plays off Broadway about killing George Bush. I'd say that old habit of always respecting the office might have went the way of the
but you're making my point for me, because one of the reasons that I despise the far left, and I do. I mean, liberal people are fine with me, but the far left, I despise them, is because they do what you just pointed out. They take a Republican or a conservative or a traditional person, and there are no rules. They just rip them up in every way, and they try to hurt them personally. They try to hurt their families. It's disgusting. And I don't want to see that in the other precincts. Now,
I didn't get that from John.
No,
Billy.
but I think he made one mistake.
I'm just telling you, we just disagree. I didn't get that from John.
All right,
there.
but let me make my case.
Look at John and...
Let me make my case. He called Mr. Obama an F and A. Personally, he said, you're an F and A. That's where he went over the line. It wasn't that he was angry about the issue, all right? I'm with him, as I said, on the issue, all right? And I think you're with him, too. But that personal, it's you're this, not to the president.
All righty.
Okay. Let's get now.
I get it.
There are a lot of other
for doing that.
There are a lot of other terms we can apply to French politicians. So now we have a liberal guy replacing Sarkozy, who now has plenty of time to hang around with Carla, his beautiful wife. What do you think of Francois?
Well, listen, Billy, I think the nanny state does some odd things to people. I remember watching a woman during Katrina. They had a news crew there, and there was water rising up her leg. It wasn't to her knee yet, but it was halfway up her shin bone, and she looked at the camera and said, "Come get me." And I remember thinking, for God's sakes, if that's what the nanny state does, is it robs you of your ability to flee rising water, I don't think I want any part of it. Now, when I watch the French kids, anytime I've been in Paris, French kids live like there's no tomorrow. Anything goes. They're nightclubs, the absolute craziest. And somehow the nanny state now has them flipping citrons over in the suburbs of Paris because they're worried about their dental benefits that will come in their mid-60s. Now, I don't know what that phenomenon is, but I don't think it's good for a culture. I don't think it's good for a group of young people to rob them of their motivation like that. French has always been a little spineless about this stuff. You ever go past a car lot that's having a sale and they have that half-inflated guy outside who's all over the place? Well, that's how much the backbone the French have. And I think they need to be a little less like Neville Chamberlain and a little more like Wilt Chamberlain the night in Hershey where he scored 100 points, or that whole country's going to, well, they've got trouble down the road.
I was not surprised. I didn't like Sarkozy because he raised the retirement age from 60 to 62. How outrageous. Yeah. You and I, Miller, we would have been retired, what, 9 years ago, if that were the case? So
well, here's
Sarkozy
the only French
said,
I know, Billy.
we don't have any money. So we got to raise the retirement age, not for people now, but down the road for the people who you were pointing out. Who they're smoking and they're drinking the little thing, the aperitifs at $8 a pop. You know, all of this. They're not even going to live to 60.
They want their prostate medicine covered in their 70s, and they want to know it when they're 18.
So they're outraged that they can't get the full pensions. They have to work to 62, not 60. And they get 8 weeks guaranteed vacation. 8 weeks. Ever go to France during August? There's no one there. You and I could go in and we could loot the whole city. No one is there. They're all at the Riviera. They're all topless down in Cannes. And many of them shouldn't be.
Well, that's the least of my problems with France right there. My problem with France is they got Bernays running through their veins. Now listen, let's talk about, you talk about France coming over here, for God's sake. Not since Lafayette have we seen an incursion like this in Massachusetts.
I'm just going to get there. It's just gonna, let me set it up for you. Miller alerted us to this story. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts has passed a bill. These pinheads actually voted on this, to ban bake sales in schools. Take it away, Miller.
Well, it's nice to know those guys risking their life at Bunker Hill were serving as the last line of defense between some 21st century porker kid named Chumley and a bear claw at a bake sale. Nice to know we put our lives on the line for that. Listen, if Massachusetts has problems and they want to do away with sugar, you know where there's a lot of hidden sugar? Ketchup. Forget the bake sales. Get the ketchup off the table. I guarantee you Massachusetts Senator John Kerry will jump on that grenade in a second to protect the nest egg. Get rid of ketchup, John, if you care about those kids.
Yeah.
Damn it, that's the solution.
It's too much sugar in it. Let's get rid of Heinz. But
exactly.
I want everybody to be alerted. All you kids in Massachusetts, starting on August 1st of this year, if you bring in a muffin, you could be in cuffs.
No, listen, eat all the crullers you want, kids. You stay away from that red sauce on the table. Ketchup. It's the devil's dandruff.
Dennis Miller, everybody. And here